welcome back to Nintendo Minute. So today we are still celebrating the month leading up to Super Mario Odyssey. Non-stop celebrations are happening. And today we're going to take a look back at two games that inspired Super Mario
Paved the way, maybe,
Odyssey.
a little bit. Yes,
exactly. So the first and your favorite game of all time, Super Mario 64.
Yeah, we were looking at that and Super Mario Sunshine. And we start with Super Mario 64. As you said, my favorite game ever.
I'm expecting the most gorgeous gameplay
well, guess what? It's gonna deliver. So here we have it. This was a launch game for the Nintendo 64. You know, one of the first sort of 3D platformers of its kind, and really in a lot of ways sort of defined the genre even as we still see it now. And you know, one of the most basic things that you see out of the gate, this is the very beginning of the game.
Right.
You don't have an overworld where you're just sort of moving from area to area. You have this whole Peach's Castle, which is this huge interactive area where you can move freely, and eventually you get to the stages. But there's a lot of stuff that you can do just for poking around.
Yeah, exactly. And some of the things will be familiar as you play Super Mario Odyssey. Like you're collecting these Power Stars in Super Mario 64. In Super Mario Odyssey, you're obviously collecting Power Moons, but it has like that sort of that open sandbox concept where you're just like, you can do whatever you want, you can explore at your own pace, but there's not really a linear path for you to go down.
And something else to note is we're playing this on the Wii U Virtual Console right now.
We have this for you.
The original, so this is the
This
original
is
N64 controller that I used to play this game so many years ago. Perfect condition. But you held the controller this way as you played, and this was one of the first controllers to have this analog stick on it, which meant you had very precise movement of Mario. You see, I can just move, just as slowly kind of walking like this, or a full-blown sprint. And there's a lot of parts of the game where they ask you to do things like that. And the camera was a whole new aspect of these 3D platformers that people didn't have to think about when you're playing a 2D game. But it's such an integral part of it. And as you get really good with this game, controlling the camera has just become so much fun because you're using it to sort of guide your way through the map.
Yeah.
And that's really the note of, I would say, are really good Super Mario 64 players who really can use the camera to their benefit.
I think that and looking at the shadows were two things that was very new when the game first came out, that you never had, like you were saying, you never had to like deal with that before.
Mario always has a shadow.
Yeah, and also the enemies have a shadow too.
Yeah,
so.
And something else that was included was, even if you're not comfortable with the jumping, it might take you a little bit of time to get used to that. Mario can punch in this game.
Right.
For me, what makes this game so special is that yes, you have the objectives, you need to get the stars, you need to do what you need to do to beat the game, but the levels are laid out in a way that it's just so fun to come back to them again and again and sort of make your own challenges.
Yes, the game within a game kind of thing. Yes. Oh, this part.
And long after I had finished this game, I would come back to it again and again and just play these levels over again and see, like, well, let's see, what's the quickest way that I can do it.
Right. You always seem to discover something new.
Right.
As you
what are some other
it.
challenges that I can do just to, give myself a new take on these levels? And there's always something new that you can do, which is so fun.
I think that idea of sort of exploration was not really a part of Mario games until 64. And obviously that concept of exploring and traveling obviously is such an integral part of Odyssey. So it's kind of nice to see that inspiration from this game.
So we're making our way up the mountain here to our first boss encounter, which sort of, don't worry. Sort of teaching you a thing or two about how to interact with the world in some different ways. This was such a different type of Mario game.
Yeah.
And it's just incredible how the development team really nailed just right out of the gate. It's like, yes, we've become experts at 2D Mario games, but guess what? We can also make this just standard bearer for 3D platformers as well.
And of course, Mr. Koizumi, who is the producer of Super Mario Odyssey, working
Oh,
on this
no.
game. What?
I got a little hot doggy there. Gotta make
I can't believe that happened to you.
Guess what? Maybe I'm a little rusty.
Wow.
Won't happen again.
So far, I'm not super impressed with your beautiful gameplay.
No.
I think you need to work a little harder.
And this really introduced a lot of new moves that you hadn't seen before, like the sort of backflip.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no! Why did that happen?
You were demonstrating something. That time I will give you.
The somersault, all these moves.
Yeah.
And so many of them are back through so many of the 3D
So many
Mario
Mario games have kept those kind of moves since this game, so it's kind of nice. The long jump, it's good. Whoa.
Something else was notable. This game kind of moved away from some of the more traditional power-ups that Mario had.
Yeah.
You don't really get a fire flower here. You're not getting, you're not turning into Raccoon Mario. You did eventually get to fly in some places, but again, it's really about sort of that core Mario experience and what Mario can do in the environment. So I need to prove myself in battle.
You really do.
So
can you?
Watch me.
Please be.
I can. And this was sort of a tutorial for the way that you would battle Bowser later on, because I don't want to spoil anything, but you would take him by the tail.
You just spoiled it. What if someone didn't know how to do that?
Well, now they've got a leg up. Now they know what to do. And you have to fight fair too. You can't throw him over the edge, or he will say that is
but definitely
dishonorable.
Didn't you try to do that?
Yeah.
I tried so many ways to try to throw him over the edge, and never did that work.
So there's also a Nintendo DS version of this that was released, introduced some new things like some multiplayer modes, pretty faithful version of this.
Yeah.
This is still my preferred way to go.
Yes.
They're on N64.
The Nintendo DS version of it is also on Wii U. So
that's right.
You can
so
play
you
it
can,
all
you can
different
try 'em
ways.
both. Look at that.
There you go. Power Star. Get.
All right. Well, we could play this game all day, nonstop, for the rest of my life, and that's actually what I did when I was in high school. But we need to move on to our next game.
Yeah.
So we will.
All right, we'll set up Super Mario Sunshine and be right back. We are back with game number 2, Super Mario Sunshine, which came out on the Nintendo GameCube.
Where'd it go?
It's right here. I have it. Don't worry. It's right here.
My original game, my original Spice GameCube
that is
controller.
The best color.
This is the hotness right here.
That is the best color. All right, so this game.
Different premise.
Very different premise.
Yes, very original.
Mario is on Isle Delfino with these interesting little inhabitants.
With Princess Peach here, yes.
With a parasol, very cute. And he has a little device.
FLUDD, which stands for...
I'm going to read my...
Read off the paper.
I have a cheat sheet because it's hard to remember what FLUDD stands for.
Yeah.
It stands for Flash Liquidizer Ultra Dousing Device. I mean, say that 3 times
FLUDD,
fast.
Yes. And the FLUDD has since appeared in Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Very popular memory of this game for a lot of people.
Yes.
And what that is, it's a device that shoots water.
Yes.
So I can shoot water all over the place. And the premise is that Delfino has been overrun with graffiti, and you need to clean it up.
Clean it up. Yes.
And a couple different things I can do. I just sort of, in this configuration, I can just shoot it out and I can aim it that way, but I can also use it as almost like a jetpack like this.
Exactly.
And that comes in very handy. And, a lot of the platforming elements here. And then there's some other things that you can do with it as well a little bit down the road. This is, again, very early on in the game. Let's see. Oh, get.
Oh no.
See, look at this. You just clean it right up.
It is oddly satisfying.
It
to,
is.
Spray away all the mud and the gross. Oh no!
Oh no. And this game had a very famous advertising campaign with the tagline, "Clean is better than dirty." Who can argue with that?
Yeah.
So we are here taking down Petey Piranha,
yes,
who has since become a mainstay in the Mario series.
Yeah.
So we're going up to the windmill here. You can see, as opposed to Super Mario 64, another big, pretty open area. But there's a lot more detail in the graphics. Obviously, this is a GameCube game versus an N64 game. Allowed the developers to do quite a bit more from the visual perspective. And people still talk about the water in this game.
Yeah, but still, I think it has some of the elements that we know and love from 64, which is a lot of exploration, a lot of sort of this. Again, the sandbox style, where you have the freedom to explore, but also you have some objectives as well. So It's actually pretty funny. We were just saying that this is very similar to the 64 level you did with like the rolling
going up
cannonballs.
the hill with the cannonballs.
Up the hill, but this time you have these mud balls instead.
And with the flood, you are limited to the water that you have.
Yeah,
so along the way, I'll need to either go into water or pick up some water. I'm not worried about it.
Conservation.
That's right.
Environmentalism.
And note, because Mario is on Isle Delfino, which is very warm and tropical, I imagine, he is in a short sleeve shirt.
But still denim overalls.
Yes, still otherwise clothed, as opposed to Super Mario Odyssey.
Oh, well, he can't be in the boxer shorts?
He's really taking it easy there.
Oh, man. It's a good day when Mario is up at the beach.
So, for the most part, you have the flood to help you with the platforming, but something that's really popular in this game is there are some challenge levels which you don't have the flood in and are really, very difficult 3D platforming areas, which people still go back to and talk about. Really fun, really just, going back to that, the pureness of movement of Super Mario 64 translated into this game.
Right.
I think I can.
Can you?
I think so.
Really?
Here we go. And as with 64, camera movement is a big thing. This time we have the C-Stick, which was a big innovation on the GameCube controller. So no more buttons, but you have a lot of freedom with the camera as well.
Riding that windmill.
Just going up
to the top.
Nowhere to go, but oh, look at that. Who
there he is.
Old Petey.
Petey's actually really cute. He gets a bad rep.
But he's bad here.
No.
Pretty bad.
But look how cute he is. He's also wearing polka dot underpants.
Maybe that's where Mario got the idea.
Oh, he's so fashionable. Taking after this plant thing, but okay.
He also has an oversized belly button.
Who doesn't?
Which he covers up.
That's right.
Yeah.
He's very modest. That animation of Mario like falling down the window is kind of terrifying.
It's fun to see Mario get more expressive
that's so true.
as the games go along. So we're just going to wait for the right moment. Petey to open his mouth here. Oh, look at that.
Nice.
Look at that.
Oh, there he is. There's the belly button.
And then the belly button is exposed, and whoops.
That seems
very
uncomfortable.
I mean, once the water goes in, it has to come out, right? One way or the other.
Some way, somehow.
I'm no scientist, but I'm just saying.
How or when or...
This is the rule of nature here.
There we go.
Once again. Yes.
Oh,
so full. We've all known that sensation. Yeah.
How you feel?
Not necessarily of having Mario, ground pound onto your belly, but of just being too full.
Of water?
Yeah.
Oh, you
just got it.
That was
just
good.
about got it.
That was good. You're at a strange angle.
Nothing will hold me back. Yes.
Oh.
Sorry, Petey.
Petey!
You were a good boy. And a lot of those 3D platforming moves that we saw return from Super Mario 64, and they work just as great.
You got a shine.
This is a shine that I had already received.
The transparent shine.
Guess what? We can get it again.
Oh,
that wasn't slick at all.
That was wow.
There we go.
I'm happy. Look at the shadows. Remember my previous advice?
I'm just enjoying myself here. Shine.
Big
Yes.
letters, exclamation mark. Mario B. Good job. What happened to Mario A?
That one is very played up.
Oh,
yes.
I see.
That's my main file.
Okay.
This is a little dabbling profile that we created just for this. Look at that.
How exciting.
Yes.
Oh, he took his little hat off. Look at that. Very cool.
That's right.
Anyways, so this was a look at two games, Super Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine, that inspired and maybe led to some of the cool things that you'll see in Super Mario Odyssey.
And as with Super Mario 64, Mr. Koizumi was very involved with Super Mario Sunshine, so you can just see
that
his
man
influence
is a
continue
genius.
to grow and expand into the game.
Exactly. So it's very fun to kind of take a look back at these. We will be back later this month with more videos on Super Mario Odyssey. Hope you're looking forward to it. As always, thank you so much for watching. And remember,
Nintendo Minute is never a minute.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.